Welcome to Differentiation and Cost Leadership. This is Dr. J. Kent Gregory, and as usual, we're following Frank Rothermel's Strategic Management, 5th edition, which came out in 2020. Let's start. So, first thing that we want to at least keep in mind is the JetBlue example. So fairly early on in their history, they tried to pursue two different strategies. One would be what we would call the cost leadership strategy, and then the other one was the differentiation or value strategy. And there was a point where that was not working for them, and they were unable to make the necessary trade-offs between the two, which are sometimes conflicting strategies. Of course, the view is much more complicated right now as we are sitting in late September of 2020, and the coronavirus epidemic is still having a massive effect on air travel. But with respect to the JetBlue example, remember that you have to carve out a clear and defined strategic position. And this is someplace where I would say you need to plant your flag in terms of this is who we are and this is what we're doing from a company perspective or an organizational perspective. And remember, you can't be all things to all people. You have to focus on your core competencies, and you must keep in mind that multiple strategies lead to what we would call just generally diffusion. You know, a lack of focus, a lack of coherent message, not only to your employees, but to your customers or stakeholders. And it leads to a dispersal of resources. And then it can lead to internal conflicting agenda among different portions of the company. So just food for thought. So to start off very basically, business level strategy are the goal is the goal directed actions that managers take to achieve competitive advantage. In a specific product market, there are multiple types of products that a company or organization produces. There actually may be multiple strategies per product line or per division. But managers have got to answer these four questions. And by managers, we're often talking about C-suite individuals, but not necessarily so. So the four questions are who? So who are we going to serve? Which customer segments will we serve? And then what? What customer needs, wishes, desires will we satisfy? And then why do we want to satisfy these needs, wishes, and desires? And then the final question, how will we do this? So how will we satisfy our customers' needs, wishes, and desires? That's a very basic, description of business level strategy. Now we're moving into competitive advantage, and we're going to look at firm and industry effects really quickly here. So this is a schematic that comes from Rothermel. And what we're going to focus on, I'm going to get my marker out here, are the firm effects. So we're looking inside the firm now. We're not looking outside at industry effects. And the firm is either going to stake out, ideally, a value position or a cost position relative to its competitors. And then those decisions are going to lead to the strategy. Is it going to be a cost leadership strategy? Is it going to be a differentiation strategy? Or is it going to be the blue ocean strategy? And then that strategy ideally will capitalize on all of the strengths and core competencies to create competitive advantage. So this is a theoretical framework, and hopefully it helps you visualize how these strategic decisions may work. The generic business strategy is two types. And by generic, we mean it can be used for any company or organization. And remember, the goal of a business strategy is either to perform similar activities differently or to perform different activities. And these two types of strategies are one, the aforementioned differentiation strategy. And in general, this is where the company seeks to create higher value for customers than the value created by its competitors. And then two, there's the cost leadership strategy. And in general, the company seeks to create the same or similar value for customers for a product or a service, but at a lower price than its competitors. One thing that must be kept in mind is that there are going to be strategic trade-offs when you make the choice between a cost or value strategy or position. You've got to make this because higher value creation, the differentiation strategy, tends to create higher costs. So that negates the goals of a cost leadership strategy. The differentiation strategy. The goal is to add unique features that will increase perceived value of goods and services in the minds of consumers. And these unique features will allow you to charge a higher price. And it's also something that competitors can't easily match the perceived value that you're offering to the consumers. And again, the focus is not on price, even though we talk about price or the willingness to pay more for something, but the focus is on things like the unique product features or the service you bring or new product launches or marketing and promotion. So, how is that product or service presented in TV ads or print ads or, ads along the interstate? And then here's a schematic version just to help you visualize how competitive position is affected by value. So how a differentiation strategy can improve your strategic position. So one, it increases the perceived value. So value drivers. Value drivers only add to competitive advantage if the value creation, i.e., what you can charge your consumers or what they're willing to pay, if that exceeds the increase in cost. So there are important value drivers, product features, customer service, as well as complements. So if you buy something or subscribe to something, what kind of other things can go along with it, or will you be incented to buy? So this may be something like if you have an Apple iPhone, buying the special, Apple earbuds, or buying iTunes or other Apple apps that you can use on your iPhone. So that's an example. Now, how does a cost leadership strategy work? So we're going to decrease costs. And typically cost drivers, when we think of cost drivers, the goal is to reduce your costs below that of competitors while maintaining adequate value. So important cost drivers are the cost of input factors like raw materials, capital inflows or borrowing capital, labor, IT, all sorts of stuff like that. And then keep in mind that there are economies of scale. So this can drive costs down. And this is as the larger you get or as the greater your production is, your market share can decrease or your increased production can decrease your per unit cost. And then there are learning curve effects, which are very similar to experience curve effects. And this is essentially you just become better at doing things and more efficient the more often you do it. And you're going to learn from your mistakes initially, and that's going to feed into your experience. You're going to be better, more quick, more efficient as your company, your workers become used to the production process. Well, thank you very much. And the next section will deal with blue ocean strategy.